everybody, it's John Brown, the one and only Bandana Gamer, coming to you with a new episode of Contravania, bringing together the things we love with people I love to talk to. Today we have a special guest panel. We first have Linda, aka the Gamergirl. How you doing, Linda?
Heyo! What's going on? I am good. Cool. I am pumped. Let's go!
Nice! It is almost morphing time, but we will get right there in a little bit. And of course, joining us as well is Sean, aka the 8BitGlitch79. How are you doing, Shawnee boy?
Doing great. This is great. Just got done playing a couple rounds of Dark Alliance, and now I'm ready to talk some TV shows.
Nice. Well, so really quick, how is Dark Alliance?
It's not bad. Like we were discussing before we started the show, I'm glad it's not a full price game per se. I mean, it's a full price for what it is, but I mean like the $60, $70, because I don't think it's that caliber. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of work it could have been done to it. But I'm enjoying it, but if I stopped playing it, I wouldn't be disappointed. Let's just say if I don't finish it, kind of thing.
That's that Game Pass.
It's fun.
That's that Game Pass, man. Game Pass, like you will try things like okay, and then move on and be fine with it. Exactly. Linda, what are you playing these days? Before we get into the main topic.
Oh, okay. So I'm playing Uncharted 3. Okay. I'm trying to burn through all 4 of them. And then I am playing GTA China Wars on the PSP, which is different and interesting at the same time.
So what?
Both good and bad.
How is that one? Is that one like is it perspective-wise?
No voice acting. You read the whole thing. The in-game time is super sped up, so you could be driving somewhere and not realize that you're almost there to where you're gonna lose all your time. So it's top-down view. Okay. You have the button schematics are weird a little bit, not bad, but just like okay. You basically are an intermittent like kid who goes to his uncle and like helping the uncle, but secretly not helping the uncle to like become a lord of like whatever their mafia is, and you have to churn in and figure it out and get everything going. So it's fun, but it's also challenging, and you don't realize that because they're all little dots, so you're trying to run around and find them. So it's cool. It's just like a GTA game, just like the first GTA game back in the day.
Nice. That was my main thing. Was like, did they go for a portable game? Did they go back to that original, top down, which was okay. I mean, clearly, like I think most everyone knows the series from 3 past.
This one
I never played the original ones. Yeah, the 3D ones are the only ones I've ever played.
So I played the first one just on the mini, but I never got very far in it.
Yeah, I remember playing them on the PS1, but like I got them on clearance, and I was just like, these exist. These are fine.
Yeah, it's too easy to run over people, so it's kind of like I'm getting run by the cops.
I think for me, like the Grand Theft Auto thing, like what I love doing in Grand Theft Auto is now just Forza Horizons. Like that is all I want to do in a Grand Theft Auto game. So that's just now where I have drifted to. So I want to before we get into the main topic, I want to do a quick news thing since y'all brought this up. Grand Theft Auto Remastered Trilogy 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. Coming, it looks like coming to the Switch, PS, PlayStation, and Xbox.
5.
All of them. Okay.
Is that something you will buy? And if so, what platform?
I would buy it because the thing is with me, I want an upgrade. If they change too much of the story, I will not be happy, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're just going to upgrade the graphics, make it a little bit more accessible and easy to play. I haven't played 3 in a long time, and that is just because of loading screens. Loading for Vice City and for 3 have been really long, so I didn't remember that, but back in the day I was just like, hey, it's a brand new game, I'm so excited to play it. And now you play it again, and my buddy Dizzy was playing it, and he was just like, I can't play this. It's so long for the loading screens. So if they fix the loading screens, upgrade everything, and you get to see everything brand new, fresh, I'm down for that. And I would get it. If they have it for PS4, I'll get it for PS4. If not, I'll buy it for the Xbox and just wait to play it later.
Okay. Gotcha. Sean, what about you?
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, those are the ones that I played the most of. The newer one, 5, I've played a little bit, but I just kind of like, I'm kind of like, I've been there, done that. Even though it looks even better, I'm just like, I've done that already, so I get kind of bored of it. So, but revisiting those ones again in a new kind of fresher coat of paint would be kind of cool. And I actually think I would get it on the Switch if it's physical on the Switch, because I just think the portability aspect would be kind of nice to be able to play it on the go. Even though I don't do that much, but I just like that idea. So.
Yeah, I think that's...
I love collecting for Switch anyways now. I'm big on Switch collecting.
Yeah, you have a Switch problem. We're going to talk about that in a later episode. Episode 5, The Intervention. But yeah, I think
I'll be there.
Yeah, well, there's going to be a lot. It's like, Sean, we're just doing a
store.
special episode of you, and you just like log on, and everyone in the YouTube communities here are like, hey, bud.
It starts off with an intervention, ends up with us just helping his little hoarding habit.
Yeah, we just all end up ordering stuff.
Start sending me Twitter posts of like sales of games. There you go.
Cases. We just send you random crap. Your wife's like, oh my gosh. Your kids are like, what is this? It's like, free stuff.
It's like this good friend of mine when I'm like, hey man, I'm trying to cut back on spending. Facebook message. Look what I found on Marketplace you should buy.
Yeah, who does that?
I don't know of anyone in this group right now that I'm talking to.
Not me.
That has ever done that to me specifically.
No.
I'm always on Facebook Marketplace. Oh, look at a Mega Man thing. Hey, bandana.
Hey, Sean, I completed the set. Maybe stop now.
There you go.
I've never tagged anybody on Twitter.
Never.
Yeah, never.
There's not like a pink... Let's see if I can do this right. Pink power morpher up there that I may have noticed on Twitter from somebody.
I don't know who it was.
Who knows?
I'm clueless.
But I'll get back and answer the question. I'm with you. I'm kind of intrigued to do it on Switch. Like I said, 5 is pretty. It was really pretty on Xbox 360 when it came out. Like they really pushed that console really, really well. Like I said, though, what I want to do in that game is Forza Horizon, but this remaster trilogy would have Vice City, which has a lot of 80s love. And
that's my favorite.
I think everyone in our community does dig a little 80s, 90s vibe. And speaking of, that moves us right into our topic. We are here today.
Great segue.
We're not just focused on video games.
Like, it was there. Where's the segue?
Yeah. No. It wasn't planned at all. Like, three seconds into that. The topic of the day is TV shows we love from our childhood that we still love, we still collect for. We're not solely focused on video games for this episode, but I have a feeling video games might come up because these properties do have video games. And let's see, I learned today that one of Sean's had video games much later in the timeline than I realized they actually did. But we'll get to those in a little bit. First of all, so this episode spawns out of the fact that Linda and I have connected many times on a shared love of the greatest children's show, greatest television show in American history and Japanese history, and that is Power Rangers. I think we're both...
Go Power Rangers!
Once again, I have a mild passing fancy with it.
This is a small one. This is a small fan. You just
and I'm the one with the problem?
We all have problems, Sean.
How much of a problem do you have?
Funny. So I'm going to tell a little intimate story. Like I was talking with a friend this week and just talking about career and job and life, and he's like, "You're kind of entering your midlife crisis," and I'm like, age-wise, I'm like, "Oh, yeah." And I say something to my wife, who it's in this room. She just looks at the wall of Power Ranger things, and the Power Ranger stuff, a lot of it is fairly new. She goes, "You think?" And I'm like, okay. But moving on. So let's go back to our earlier lives. Linda, how did you come to be introduced to Power Rangers, and what as a child did you love about it?
So for me, Power Rangers was introduced to me just randomly seeing a trailer / commercial for Power Rangers. It was just on, and I love anything to do with martial arts, karate, or anything to do with action. Mm-hmm. I mean, I do love my educational shows, but it was fun just to see something happen and it'd be solved in 30 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember the marketing was everywhere. You saw coming to the KB Toys, get your morphers. And then you had the dolls, the figures, you had different things. And over time, it just like became so cool just to see random stuff. And then they had Halloween outfits. And I'm like, no, they did not. And for me, they didn't have Yellow Ranger, which I don't know why. They had pink, red, and blue. Where is Yellow Ranger? Where is Black Ranger? No love for them. So I bought Red Ranger. I said, screw it.
Yeah, nice.
Very yeah, nice. it was just a minor thing that I came home straight from school. I was given a little bit of leeway and allowed to just watch the show for half an hour, 45 minutes, and then jump straight into my homework. And then it was night shows. So
yeah, I
got a little bit because it was like right exactly like you had to like rush home. I don't know why they did that. It was like 3:30. Like I get off of school at 3. I had a haul butt to get over to where I needed to be.
Oh, I remember those running, especially the week when the Green Ranger miniseries was going on.
Yes.
Hauling butt from the bus stop to the house to get there. And
getting 5 seconds to run in, throw your bag, go grab something to drink, and sit down and zone out from whatever is going on.
Yeah.
See, kids today, they don't know that. Kids today, they just put up Netflix,
DVR
watch whatever they want, and you know what I mean, binge the whole thing in one night if they want. They don't understand the whole gotta get up on Saturday morning. They gotta get home from school, or I'm gonna miss it. You know?
Or when something changed and you realize it's gonna be past your curfew and you can't watch it, or you sneak into your room that you can watch it, and you're like secretly getting in trouble. You're like, I don't care, I'm gonna miss the show.
I am gonna see this.
Yeah.
And then recording it on a VHS tape to watch it 16
I remember
more
that.
times.
Like getting ready, holding your finger to the button and just watching the TV and going, it's not that. No, okay.
That Green Ranger miniseries, like I recorded every episode of that specifically.
Dude, yeah.
Just because
and then they released it on VHS right after.
What was that?
And then they released it right after, right?
Well, and then as soon as the last episode aired, I just watched the whole miniseries right again off of that tape. I wore that tape out. So, and to go back to your Halloween costume dilemma, let's be honest about one thing. One thing they got really wrong in that miniseries, in that first season, Trini should have been the Red Ranger. She should have been the leader. She had the karate styles of Jason and could talk Billy. Like she was
and compassion to know, like she was all of the characters into one.
Oh yeah.
Like she was Pink Ranger with compassion, a little feisty here and there. And then she could also move, like she could dance too.
Yeah.
She was a little bit everybody.
Yeah, she should have been the leader, hands down. But wasn't writing the show when I was 9 or so. But Shawnee Boy, now you are not as big a Power Rangers fan. But by the end of this episode, we will have converted you, and you will be one of us. I want to hear about what your earliest memories with a TV show you absolutely loved are.
The earliest memory of any show, like the earliest show,
any show,
90s, 80s,
actually, go with your like favoriteest of favorites from your younger years.
From my very young years, it would have to be He-Man, and I didn't. Yes, I didn't have cable where I lived at my house. I got 2 channels if I was lucky. If the wind and the antenna was pointing just right, you know, so I didn't get to watch He-Man because it was on. I don't even know what channel it was on, to be honest. And
I forgot
where you watch it, but because I could only get like CBS and PBS at my house, that was it. So I would only be able to watch it when I would go over a friend's house or over my aunt's house, and where they lived, and they had cable. And whenever it would come on, I'd have to stop whatever I was doing and I have to sit down and watch it because it was my only opportunities other than renting the tapes, you know, from the rental store. So, but that show always captivated me when I was very young, and I had to have all the toys, and I had Castle Grayskull, and I didn't have Snake Pit, but I remember having the Slime Pit. I don't remember the official name of it, but it was like this little stand, the skull on the top, and it had a skeleton hand, and you put the figure in it and pull the hand up so it'd hold the figure, like trap it, and then you'd put the slime in the skull head, and it would come down and pour over the the action figure.
Oh,
So
I
I think it was
remember
the
that.
slime pit or something. I think it was called. I had that and I loved it. Of course, the slime got everywhere. My mom was so mad.
Oh my gosh, slime was such a thing in the 80s and
Yeah.
90s, like Nickelodeon, but also like
Oh yeah.
that toy had slime you poured on. The Ghostbusters toys had slime.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I remember the
Yep.
Firehouse had like a grate at the top for you to pour slime down into. They like, of course, don't show like afterwards when it's like dried and crusty and gross.
Oh, and it
And it's
smelled so
destroyed the
bad.
paint job of your toy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was appealing about He-Man? What was it that you was so drawn to?
I just thought that characters were very creative and fascinating. Like I never saw a show where they would take like different, let's say, animals and make them into humans, or like like Skeletor is a skeleton. I mean, it's like, and then I later find out in the lore like how that he came about to be that way, and how his face was melted off.
Oh, tell me the
And
lore.
his-
I do not know this, sir.
Oh yeah,
They had
his
many
brother-
comics. They had a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of like writings about it because
Skeletor is actually the brother of King Randor.
Yeah.
And King Randor ended up melting Skeletor's face off. I can't remember what Skeletor's real name is off the top of my head now. But yeah, that's how he became like the skeleton thing. And he actually Mordok from She-Ra, the villain in She-Ra, because he was in He-Man for a little while too. He actually, Skeletor was like his minion until he defeated him and stuff. So it was, I don't know. It's just the characters and just how creative they were and stuff. So, and of course, wanted to be He-Man. Who didn't want to be the big muscular hero guy with the sword? That was like all the 80s. The big muscle guy, Arnold, Stallone, all that.
Yeah,
It was like
everybody.
it was macho man 80s.
Masculinity was steroids in the
Yes.
80s. So, yeah.
Shh, we're not supposed to tell that.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon told that in court, so everyone knows that.
Nobody else has read the court documents. We don't know about that.
It's real, damn it.
Yeah. Hulk Hogan's eyes weren't just like bloodshot for no reason.
Dude, anybody who can cut their face, they are on steroids.
Yeah.
There is that. So, so Sean, I'll start with you. Favorite character, absolute, and favorite toy from that line.
From He-Man?
Yeah.
Oddly enough, you'd think I'd say He-Man or something like that, but actually Moss Man was one of my favorites. I just like the idea of how he had that like felt on the outside and he smelled like moss. And believe it or not, I remember it was in the attic for years and years, and I came across it, and the damn thing still smelled like moss. I'm like, this thing is covered in cancer causing chemicals.
Asbestos on it.
Yeah, this thing still smells like the day it came out of the package. It was crazy.
And you
But
immediately put it in your mouth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
licked it. Yeah. So I would say that one because I just thought it was pretty unique. How it smelled like moss and how it felt and stuff. So that was probably my favorite one out of the toys that I had. Not so much on the show. It wasn't my favorite kind of thing. My favorite on the show obviously has got to be He-Man. It's just this. I'm pretty generic there, but as the toys go, Moss Man.
Moss Man.
The movie is killer, though. You got to definitely watch the movie.
The live action one with Dolph Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren. I just watched that on my CRT last
nice.
week.
Yeah,
that's what I went to the
classic.
movies when that came out with my little He-Man, my Skeletor. I was sitting in the theater watching that, and people would think, "Oh, were you really disappointed that it really didn't meet up to like the cartoon or anything?" I said, "No, I was thrilled. I thought it was awesome.
It was so
amazing.
80s and
I
good.
still do. I still do."
Linda, do you remember going to the Power Ranger movie?
Yeah.
What was your experience going to the Power Ranger movie?
Chaos. It was so many people and kids and parents that didn't want to be there that you could tell. My mom was cool with it. My mom was like, yeah, okay, yeah, when we're going to go. Okay. And I remember her saving the money for it. Like I told her, like, I really want to go see the movie and Turbo and just like, I remember the day of going to get the tickets, my mom going, here's the money, letting me pay for the ticket. We got into the theater, going and buying the popcorn. and then getting like some candy and the soda, and then sitting down. And I remember not being able to fit in the seat very well because back in the day the seats would like sink in. So you're trying to like sit close enough to where you're like, I'm not gonna sink in. Okay, here we go. And so you're like awkwardly sitting and you're trying to like blend in with everything. Like I know what I'm doing. I know what's going on. And then the theater being 10 times louder than it should be, and the kids screaming at every good thing. And then I remember just the skydiving scene. I can still like to this day remember how this started, Bulk and Skull, all the shenanigans that happened with that, and then just the music. And then I was like coming out of that movie theater just so hyped. I was like, I want to watch it again. I know I can't afford it, but I can't wait for this to be on VHS. And I burned that tape too. Like that tape was broken within like a month.
Oh yeah, that.
I kept watching it.
I remember when we got that VHS tape, and it came in those like Disney clamshell and not the like sleeve. Yeah, and I have the distinct memory of it finishing, me going or watching the last scene because there's this little last scene with like Goldar.
Oh yeah, the ending part. Yeah.
Possibly the first superhero Easter egg. Didn't realize that till now. And then putting it right back in. So it was 95. I was at my dad's that summer, and him and my stepsister, I made them go see it, and the projector broke. Like they were mid skydive, and the projector broke, and they refunded our money. And like 2 days later, and I was so dead. It was opening day. And I was just like, that's what...
oh, man.
And so 2 days later, my dad just dropped me and a friend off because it was like, apparently he could only psych himself up for one view, one attempt. It dropped me and my friend Will off. And like I said, the skydiving scene, skydiving was so 90s. Like that was premier X game time. And of course, Tommy is doing the air surfing. Which was so big at the time. And I remember there was such the soundtrack. It felt so taboo as a kid because the Red Hot Chili Peppers were on it. And the Red Hot Chili Peppers have that opening song, Higher Ground. Their cover of Higher Ground. Oh yeah. Such a great, and those costumes, like when they morphed and they had the movie costumes.
Yeah, and the McDonald's toys. I remember I asked. I didn't go anywhere else. I was like, my mom would be like, okay, are we going to Burger King? No, McDonald's. We got to get every toy.
Oh, yeah.
Every toy. And I would just literally just go up to the lady and be like, I don't want a Yellow Ranger. I already have a Yellow Ranger. Do you have pink, blue? Yeah. And she'd be like, let me check. And she like actually looked for me.
Nice. Yeah, because they had the Happy Meal toys, and then they had the Zord toys that like came with
they were connected together. Yeah. It was like little tiny Power Rangers with a big old like Zord that
they sat in and rolled around. And I had all of those. Loved. So let me ask you real quick. Like you said you were a Yellow Ranger
fanatic.
Yellow Ranger fanatic from the get-go. Were you devastated when the cast switched out and they switched out Trini, Zach, and Jason for Rocky, Aisha?
Yes, I was surprised by that. I didn't know what was going on. I thought because she wanted to be an actress, but even then it was still sad to me because I knew like the Mickey Mouse Club, everybody eventually was gonna leave.
Yeah.
But it still was the saddest day when they changed over the powers to everybody. Yeah. And I was just like, I recorded that on VHS also that last time. Yeah. And I just remember like, ooh. And for a while there, I couldn't picture the next three being Power Rangers. But then I realized that they could fight.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want somebody to just come in and not be able to fight. That's the whole point. The original cast was hired because they could do something. Either gymnastics or martial arts. It was something, And so when the new cast came in, I was like, please let them be able to do at least something.
Yeah.
And when I saw all of them be able to kick, and most of them were able to do a back handspring, which is really crazy to see. The Power Rangers now, they don't even care if you can fight. You look good on camera. Okay, cool.
And they're from New Zealand now. How dare they? But so Sean, that like, was there ever? I don't know enough about He-Man. Was there ever a weird transition? Because I know like Transformers, at one point in time they nearly killed off everybody so they could bring in new toys. Was there ever a He-Man moment that really messed with your head?
Like, not that I can think of, to be honest. No, it was pretty standard.
I mean, they
like,
added new characters.
Yeah, they would add new things, but
they would still had He-Man. Well, not the new show. We're not going to talk about the new show right now.
Oh, we will talk about
one or the other new one. The
not the 2002, the brand new one.
We'll talk about that later because
Netflix one. Yeah, okay.
Now we've got now I know Sean actually has talked about he actually likes that show.
I like it, but I'm just like, yeah. If you're talking about killing off the character, technically He-Man was killed off in a way because they said that there could be another He-Man, but it's technically he was a He-Man for a long time, so it's kind of hard to picture somebody else be He-Man. You know.
Okay. Yeah, so this is the new show. Really quick. Totally no understanding of He-Man whatsoever. This is the new show. Are we really spoiling here and going out and saying
no? It's everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all over the
okay. So they killed He-Man.
Technically, the guy who is He-Man is it like it's a weird thing. Like it's just supposed to be like a plot twist, but like they got rid of He-Man's powers in a way.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'm now intrigued. I do like a lot of the
complicated.
I do like a lot of the people that are involved with the new one. But all right, well, Sean, let's get back to you. So He-Man, tell me about your process and like what shows you went through. I don't know. This may just have been me. I was so my growing up is Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, Beast Wars, Transformers, professional wrestling, and now it's all of it. What was like your transition? What like brought you up? What do you remember watching after He-Man?
Okay, so for me, He-Man and G.I. Joe were kind of together at the same time. Those were the two that was big for me. And then I would say Ninja Turtles was the next big thing for me. I had to have all the toys, and I loved watching the Ninja Turtles, the games, and all that stuff. And then it was Biker Mice from Mars. And I was actually pretty... At the age when that came out, it would be like, you're watching cartoons? It's like, hell yeah, I am. Because I was like preteen, like, you know, like I shouldn't be interested in like cartoons, you know, like that. But I absolutely loved Biker Mice from Mars. And I think it came at the right moment in my life kind of a thing. Because it was right when I was getting into music, and especially rock and metal music. And they were very rock. I mean, the intro music is a rock song. They're bikers. It's all metal. You know what I mean? Like, so it was like, oh, I can relate to this, you know? And then I kind of saw how it related kind of with the Ninja Turtles. What they borrowed from that, like, kind of series and those characters into their characters and stuff. So it was kind of a cool transition. And I just loved the animation and stuff.
Nice.
And then after that, I don't think there was really anything that I would say. Then I started getting into more live action things and stuff like that, you know, and TV and stuff like that. But yeah, so I'd say Biker. Maybe I have a big thing for Biker Mice from Mars because it's kind of the last childhood hold of, you know, that last transition out of the childhood into just, you know, teen angst and adulthood. So it was my anchor.
What are the names of the Biker Mice from Mars?
You got Moto, Vinny, and Throttle.
Okay.
And fun fact about the cast, some of them were in other high like rating shows. Like one of them was in Pinky and the Brain, and
yep.
Nice.
So it like a lot of them you wouldn't realize was actually like famous actors that gone on to do really big movies. Like Don, he was a famous actor that not everybody knew about. Like when you actually look in the cast, you're like, whoa.
Yeah, there's some good names in there. Yeah. And I didn't know that as a kid, obviously. I was, you know.
Yeah, you're just like, watching the show.
Yeah. And then after, when, you know, you look into it later on as you're growing up, you start looking into the history of it and stuff, and you're just like, wow, you know. So it's pretty cool. And yeah, so those are the three mice, and they had their April, which was Charlie. She ran the mechanic shop. She was a female mechanic. They stayed in her shop. That was like, instead of the sewers, they stayed in the mechanic. which fit because they're bikers. They got to work on their bikes and stuff. So
So
they had their April O'Neil character, and then the four turtles. The aspects of the four turtles were kind of melded into the three mice.
Okay.
You had your like tough anger guy, Moto, who was like the Raphael, just want to kick ass and take names, and then you had like Throttle, which was more of the leader and the smart thinker, like Leonardo and kind of Donatello in one. And then you got Vinny, who's the Michelangelo, always wanted to, for some reason, a mouse wanted to always get it on with Charlie, the human female. That was didn't think it was weird then, but now I think back, I'm like, that's kind of weird.
That is kind of like the awkward thing of like that era of like mutant animals. Like there was always a female like love interest, and somebody
really
had the feelings for her.
Yeah.
And then we did it with Sonic the Hedgehog in 2006, and it was just really awkward.
Yeah.
So Linda, like
sketchy stuff.
Linda, you know all the things. Like you know the cast of Biker. What was your favorite shows as a kid to transition through?
Okay, so it was Gem and the Holograms. It was Salute Your Shorts, like all the '90s Clarissa Spanks and all. You got Are You Afraid of the Dark? Keenan and Kel, all that.
Mm-hmm.
I was brought up on like weird, funny character humor that we don't get now. We just get like slapstick, throw it at something, and then we're done. So
yeah.
I'm used to like So Weird and things that are like old school, like also like Captain Kangaroo, Elephant Show.
Nice.
Like my family was several generations that had VHS and they bring it over for me, because I grew up in a Christian household, so we didn't have a lot to watch. I wasn't allowed to just randomly choose the TV and just see what was on. I had to show, like, I'm not going to watch anything bad. It was in the family room, so if anything happened, you had to flip the channel. You couldn't just watch anything. So my family would find shows that were really good back in the day for themselves and bring their stuff to me to watch. So we watched all the Disney stuff, We had Dinosaurs, which I don't know how dinosaurs slipped through the cracks. Dinosaurs was a really edgy, weird show that made it through, and I watched it every time religiously. Like I filmed the commercial for I'm not the mama, I'm the baby.
Oh, yeah.
When those came on, I recorded that, and it was a lot of like stuff that I never thought would get through, like Pete and Pete's. When you watch those shows now, you're like, wow, those shows made it through.
Early first 10 years of Nickelodeon. That stuff was like, it was punk
very
rock
edgy.
In a way.
And Disney too. Don't forget, Dinosaurs was on Disney.
Oh yeah? I
remember getting the cable box. We didn't have, it wasn't included in the package. You had to pick up a specific cable box like Sega and put it in there and connect it.
Yeah, it was
to be able to watch all those shows back then.
Yeah, when it first launched, it was a premium channel like HBO.
Premium plus extra plus the box.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like super cheap. It was, you wanted that. Just like now that they charge you $30 for a movie. So, they're still doing what they do back in the day.
Yeah.
So with what you just talked about growing up, how did Power Rangers get through?
Power Rangers was just, like, it started off with, they saw it and they thought it was just a kid's show.
Okay.
And then it was good versus evil. So that's how it got through. It was like good versus evil. You saw good win every time. And then we would read like some book that a Christian author wrote afterwards. Yeah. So it was like some stuff made it through, and I don't know how it made it through in the family, but we just accepted it and moved on. We didn't talk about it.
Didn't ask questions.
Like Power Rangers is on, okay. And that was like the edgiest thing I could watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was weird.
I had a kind of similar but reverse thing. Like my mom was a pastor, but my mom was also like hippy dippy. So Power Rangers was fine. Like what was not fine was like G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of anything with guns, like war stuff. Like no.
Because like Captain Planet made it through.
Yeah.
Because it was like fighting evil, with the environment in a way.
Yeah.
So.
But it's really interesting what you said about my mom actually had a sermon where she was like, she told the story of like lamenting about how stupid she thought Power Rangers was, but like her friends like, but you can tell who the good guys are. and it's such a refreshing, like, simple good versus evil. And that's really, like, where, like, the value of it came was, like, so that's what we had a little moment. It's beautiful. Sean, knowing a little bit about you, I know, like, TV was just invented right as you were a child, so I'm sure your parents were terrified of it stealing your soul.
He was watching I Love Lucy.
I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
Leave it to Beaver.
His parents were unsure. The Bradys were sharing a bed. They didn't like that being.
That was controversial.
But Sean, like, did you have anything like parent wise that like interfered with your shows, or you talked?
No, my parents are they didn't limit like anything I could watch. I mean, I was watching Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. And still the Rambo movies at like 6 years old and 5 years old.
Oh yeah,
and stuff. So they were just like, yeah, whatever.
Oh, see, and that's another thing my mom did. Like her movies, like I didn't understand what kids' movies were. Like she's just like, you're watching this with me. I'm a divorced mom. I don't have time for a babysitter. So like Top Gun, Footloose, those were my kid movies.
Nice.
Like Footloose is still like the movie I like think of in my childhood.
I still love the freak out from the church scene, when she's just like just yelling at him.
That movie's so good. All right, but getting back to the topic at hand and our favorite shows as kids. Linda, favorite episode of Power Rangers?
Oh wow. You're going to throw it back. You know what? Actually, it would be the first episode of Zeo.
Okay.
Because I didn't know what was going to happen. Because they kept doing the 3 seasons, and they're like, we're going to do this first season, then the second season, then Ninja. Like they kept trying to keep the seasons going because they didn't know if it was going to do well. And then when the first episode of Zeo happened, I was like, whoa, this is like monumental because this is like their test run of the next season to go through. So it's a hit or miss, and you didn't know if it was going to make it. So I recorded that first episode just in case something were to happen, the ratings went down, and we never had Power Rangers again because you didn't know. Yeah. Back in the day, they could have just dropped a show for any reason.
Yeah, we didn't know like it would go.
And we didn't have
internet
seasons like that back then to like be able to see like why or what happened to it or anything like that.
Yeah. Oh God, Zeo! I remember the commercials coming from Zeo, and I was so anxious. Yeah. One, I loved the Ninja Zord. The Ninja Zord is my favorite Megazord of all time, and I didn't want him to change it, but I understood they like I was grasping that they changed the Zords every season, but then to change the costumes, I was like
new morphers, new morphine.
Tommy was red
the weirdest
now.
Morph ever. Yeah.
It was. Oh, I still...
So intricate. I felt bad for them, though. They had the worst morph ever. Like, if you ask them at a convention now, it's like... They just, like, panic and go, wait, hold on. 1 second. And they have to, like, remember it. Yeah. But it's hilarious.
I was about to say, like, it got... All the morphine from after the first series got way overcomplicated. Like...
Well, then it started simplifying again. Then it was like just pushing buttons or, adding a card or adding like a little figure to the morpher. Because they realized that not everybody in the cast could synchronize like that.
Yeah.
Like they were like, we got it through 1 or 2. We're not going to get the next season to show, like, we can't synchronize it.
I don't know. I was watching
too many moves.
The latest one, which is like Dino Fury. It just premiered on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm watching that too.
And like what they like end up doing like is such an unnatural pose before they go into morphine. I was like, guys, I mean, like.
Yeah, and then the weird thing is also that they started off with 3 and then they just keep adding. Like they're like, oh, the rest of them are lost into the void, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we found 2 more. Yeah. And then there's another one. Look at that. And how they introduce the new characters are so random and weird. Mm-hmm. Like if you saw like them introducing the newest Ranger, there was no music. It was so awkward. It was weird. It was like, hey everybody, look, we have the new cast member, and they're all like super intense, like aggressive with their commercials, and you're like, okay, this is too much. And the guy comes in like, hi, I'm so excited. I'm like, oh.
No. That's one thing, like Power Rangers, not known for its like great acting, but when there are times when they have someone really bad, on there, and it's just Dino Thunder, the season where Tommy came back and was a teacher.
Yeah,
And
they had a couple characters who couldn't fight. That was like one of the first seasons where they just didn't care if you couldn't fight.
Yeah.
They just would like immediately you morph. Like you got one kick in and then they morphed. Like it got bad around that time. Then that was actually when Disney took it over too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Disney didn't care. They're like, we're just gonna get actors who fit our union and they're gonna just get in there. And I was like,
yeah, there are some rougher spots, especially as we get along. Sean, any rough spots for your beloved shows that you can think of?
No, the Biker Mice was only about 3 seasons long.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the favorite episodes and moments in that would be like the one from that comic book I got from Tom and Lacey with the Exterminator, because it was like the Arnold Schwarzenegger robot that the villain Limburger hired. He was like a gun for hire from outer space. He had like a robotic Arnold voice and rode a giant bike. And I just remembered because I loved Arnold movies and Stallone movies. So that was like a cool connection and they were kind of making fun of. And then the episode, it was kind of like the Christmas special episode where like the Limburger, he's like the shredder of the series. He made it like perpetual winter. Everything was covered in snow and stuff, and as
supervillains will want to do at least once.
Exactly. Yeah, it was like the cliche thing, but I that one I remember because it was like they played up the whole Christmas thing during it, and Christmas is a big thing for me. So so those were a couple moments that I remember, but it never really like had a chance to kind of go downhill or anything like that, because it kind of did. It only had the 3 seasons, which kind of sucked. He-Man was pretty flatlined with the whole thing. It didn't change or go up until like they made new series and stuff. And then I found out that they made a 2006. They remade a Biker Mice from Mars series, but it was only in UK. And I just found it on YouTube. And I haven't watched it yet, but it's only like one season.
As soon as he's done with this podcast, he's gonna go look for the merchandise. He's gonna go buy everything.
Does it?
And the animation is different.
I was gonna say, does it look drastically different?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, not as bad as like some of the
like Powerpuff Girls or anything like that. Yeah,
that I went through and stuff. But it still looks pretty cool. I would say like it would be like it's more like He-Man then and the He-Man on the Netflix.
Okay,
it looks good and it's not horrible. You know what I mean? Like, but it's different.
Yeah, like the new artist changed the style up and everybody copies that.
Yeah,
got it.
So yeah, I gotta watch that. So because I want to see what they did with it, and especially like the voices. I don't know like what the voices are gonna be like, because that's what's gonna be.
Yeah,
weird.
It's gonna make
like you can change animation, but once you got voices that are like don't fit or don't feel right, that can kind of ruin it.
That's like the new Ninja Turtles, or not the newest one. Going back to when Nickelodeon first got it and launched their computer, the fact that like somebody from the original cast was in there, but they were a different turtle, and that messed with me so much. I'm like,
yes,
I almost wish you just had completely new people. Like, I'm cool with Jason Bateman being or not Jason Bateman, the American Pie guy. The American Pie guy was the Jason
Biggs.
Thank you. I want to give credit where credit's due. He was Leonardo, and I think Sean Astin was Raphael, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think so.
But so Linda has. This is like, now I wish we had done this episode later, and like I had started a Patreon, and we could just do like, hey, pay extra and watch Biker Mice from Mars 2006 with Sean and Linda. Yeah, member bonus right there.
Yeah,
possibly Sean in tears
about that show.
Yeah,
and Sean was the one who reminded me that there's a couple of shows that I watched as a kid and I didn't remember, and then I vaguely remembered, and all of a sudden somebody in the community be like, "Yeah, remember this show?" I'm like, oh. And I binge watched it like right after.
Yeah. What's funny is I'll wear like one of my Biker Mice from Mars shirts out, and somebody will like, "Oh wow, Biker Mice from Mars," and it's like, where were these people when I was a kid? Because I was the only one.
Yeah.
Like everybody in my school or like around me that knew me was like, Biker what? What are you talking about? You know, like
Yeah.
I felt like I was the only one. I mean, the thing only lasted
agree.
3 seasons, which kind of explains it now, you know. But
Yeah,
then
like
now, as an adult, people are coming out of the woodwork. Oh, Biker
Mhm.
Mice from Mars and stuff. It's like, wow.
There's a cult
okay.
following for the like tons of shows that they canceled, but we all had a love for it, and there's conventions for them now. Like
Yeah.
you can
Oh,
go
yeah.
find like tiny little conventions for different shows that randomly are just everybody meet up at this place, and we're all gonna have a little convention there. And
Yeah.
it's like we're gonna watch this show.
That's like the live action show Legend of the Seeker. It had 2 seasons, and there's a huge group on Facebook and online that was like petitioning for that to come like back into existence
Nice.
because they only got 2 seasons, and it was really great. That's how we named our first daughter. Was one of the characters in that, Kaylin, the main female character in that show. Because we were trying to think of a female name that was unique, and we're like watching it, and also we're like, duh. Kaylin, but we spelled it different, you know.
Yeah.
So,
the nerd award for this episode goes to Sean for naming a child after a TV show.
Heck yeah.
Kudos, my friend.
How you
Kudos, right there. Love every minute of that. That's actually like, do y'all remember the weird? And I mean, Biker Mice from Mars is kind of one. It fits into this category, like the weird knockoff versions of this stuff. Like the one I'm thinking of now. I'm like curious if there's a cult following. Is teenage tattooed alien fighters from Beverly Hills. Does anyone remember that one?
whoa!
It was a Power Rangers knockoff.
First I've ever heard of this.
Yeah.
It was a
Vaguely
Power Rangers
remember that
knockoff,
one.
like on the USA Network.
I watched that just to see what it was like, and I was like, oh, copy and paste. But it had like really like weird character names and characters and stuff like that.
I think that like they're morph. I'm going to use the term in a generic sense. Was like based off of like the Zodiacs. Like there was a Taurus, and they looked like professional wrestler versions of the Power Rangers. You know, Power Rangers in itself. One of the things that made it such a big deal for like the business side is super cheap to make. Like and like that's why I probably still love it today, and why I feel like it's so campy. Like they did it on a really amazing budget. You know, they had the action footage already shot. And then they just kind of cut and paste it. But like this looked even cheaper. And just, if you don't know Tattooed Teenage Alien Fighters from Beverly Hills, I think that's the full name. Look that
Probably
up.
right. I don't remember exactly. But
And then there was a Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad for the Power Rangers, which those had cool toys. I had those. Like it was kind of, they went into the computer.
I had Beetleborgs. I had that. I had VR Troopers. Like there was so many.
Oh yeah, like they just the whole thing, like, and then Beetleborgs and VR Troopers were kind of knockoffs from the same company. They were both Saban products. What are your like? Did you like VR Troopers and Beetleborgs, Linda?
Yeah, I liked them. I had the games. I had the morphers. I had like only 1 or 2 of each one. I didn't have a lot, but they were I had that, and I have the Game Gear one, and I used to watch it also. I used to watch that one. It was like 3 and 3, like they always stick with like 3. And what was funny is a lot of the cast changed, and you're supposed to not notice it, you know?
Yeah.
Like Beetleborgs, they changed the girl like midway through season 1. They were like, oh, we're just gonna change her, and it's like, okay, nobody's gonna say anything. But at the time, we didn't have internet, so they could just do the swapperoo. And you're not supposed to complain. I mean, you could write a letter, but who has the time or the postage to do that?
Beetleborgs was like, I really liked VR Troopers. VR Troopers was kind of meant to be like the adult version of Power Rangers, or not adult, but
it was a teenager one.
The teenager one.
You had the kid one, which was Power Rangers, and you had the like smaller kid one, which was Beetleborgs, and then you had the teenagers, which was VR Troopers, in their books, what they were trying to go for. Yeah,
Beetleborgs. I don't know, like I loved the Japanese action stuff. I thought those costumes, that the robots and all that was awesome. The weird framing with like the haunted house, like their command center was a haunted house. There were all these monsters that were trying to eat them, but were their friends. And then Flabber, I think, was like their Zordon who gave them powers. Did that was that weird to you, or just is that I was just hitting a point where I was kind of aging out?
No, the reason why I didn't, it was the 90s, bro. Like we had bone chillers on TV. We had random like kooky, quirky stuff that didn't make any sense, but you went with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't question things back then because I was like, oh, okay, so this is what's going on. I went and got the books or the merchandise and watched it or did whatever they were, like, read the comics, and I swim with it.
Nice.
I mean, the kitty stuff, like, I stopped watching, but I still watched Lamb Chops, or, you know, if they had a minor stuff like Barney every now and then, I would watch that.
Nice.
But I could not get into Teletubbies. Teletubbies was on crack. It was just too much.
Teletubbies was so clearly meant for infants.
Yeah.
Like, that's... Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so.
But they marketed it somewhat towards little, like, kids, and I'm like,
No, none of this.
I'm good. No.
Yeah, I think I had to be not deep, but in my teenage years, when Teletubbies was a thing, so I just kind of accepted that's not for me.
I was on a cold medication when I first saw the very first episode. I was high on cold medication, sitting on the couch, so, like, had a fever, and I watched the TV, and it changed to the next show, and I'm like, you know, that zoning out, like, what the hell am I watching? And I turned to my mom, I'm like, is there a baby in the sun? And she goes, yeah, it's not the medication you're watching, it's a baby in the sun, and there's some weird little things going on. And I'm like, okay, cool, I'm not hallucinating. Got it.
Nice.
That's how bad it was.
We had a friend who lived in the UK and, like, was telling us beforehand, hey, there's this thing, apparently we're sending it to you. Just be warned.
I'm like, some shows don't need to cross over the pond, please. Just keep
we could have left
there.
that. Just send us more Doctor Who. That's cool.
Yeah, I'll take Doctor Who.
So
give me that one.
Yeah, but going back to Power Rangers, the best show ever. Did you? And this is open to you too, Sean. With your stuff, did you ever feel like you aged out of it for a bit?
Yeah.
When did you feel that, and, like, what was the turning point for you?
Disney era.
Okay.
When the Disney era happened, and the show started getting to the point where it was just like they just made it however they wanted to make it. They didn't follow the formula anymore, which I don't mind if you sway a little bit to, like, a different way. But it was solely to the point where they just didn't even care anymore about the athletic ability of anybody. They were just going in and, like, trying to bring back people. They were just like, oh, let's try to do reunions, but not really care about how we address the people who were the past. And that was, like, a little suspect to me of, like, how much did they really care about the show if they're sending out blanket emails and saying, hey, let's all bring everybody back. And it's like, you're just trying to get a cash grab on all the people that were back then, and now you want them to come back. It's like, no, I'm good.
Well,
when you try to reboot something or change something, you need to first make sure that you're not disgracing the previous one. I felt like they were at one point. Okay. And that's why Saban bought it back, because they were like, we're losing the image that we had. We need to, like, get it back. Yeah, Saban. Disney was like, I'm done.
Yeah. Saban bought it, like, Disney had run it into the ground. Saban bought it back and, like, launched, I think he went right with Dino Thunder, which if you look at Dino Thunder, like, it is so clearly, like, I am making the original show The Next Generation. Like, Tommy has a PhD, which I've said before. I find that suspect. I don't feel like Tommy's a realistic PhD.
Have you seen Jason now, what he does now?
I've been to, like, Jason or Austin St. John.
No, not Austin St. John.
I have not seen. He was on. He came back for
the one who played Green Ranger. Yeah.
He came back for Beast Morphers. I have not seen any of. Or I've not seen.
He runs his own karate dojo now.
Okay, that makes sense. See, that to me is in line with the character.
But, like, the fun fact is, okay, this is funny to me. I'm not dissing him. Hustle, do your own thing. So because I was like, oh, let me see what it is like. Because I bought the VHS and I was, like, training, learning some moves from him. And when I went to it, it says, okay, so you have to, which at any karate school, I took karate. At any karate school, you have to learn, like, how to address people. You need to learn how to, like, if they ask you who's the sensei, who is the master of their dojo, you have to know in verbatim their title, which I'm cool with. But as it goes on, there's a certain point where it cuts off and you have to actually travel to his dojo in order to get the black belt.
Nice.
You have to, but for people who can't travel, I'm stuck at at green belt or blue belt or whatever, you know, like I can't go no longer to brown or black or whatever it is to go get my belt. That's kind of a little bit like, why go virtual only up until a certain point? You know what I mean? Just have like an instructor who you have certified at your location for that state, and just say, instead of traveling 5 hours from the East Coast to go to where you need to go to in Cali, because I think he's in Cali now.
Yeah.
Why not just have like a certified dojo at your location meet you there? And it's like, okay. So I'm cool with him doing the dojo, but I was just like, there's something.
VHS tape
like,
was a bit much.
A little bit leeway, you know?
I think a lot of those cats, like I know Jason David Frank Tommy has a dojo and MMA company. He actually has
he was an MMA fighter for a while.
Yeah, he has a Christian MMA clothing line.
Yeah, I saw that.
Jesus Didn't Tap.
Yeah,
actually, I have a pair of Jesus Didn't.
A lot of fighters had that for a while until UFC decided to take away their rights to put it on a little badge or something on there.
Yeah, I have a pair of Jesus.
That made you laugh, Sean?
I have a pair of Jesus Didn't Tap shorts signed by Jason David Frank. But Sean, you talked about your show being slightly shorter. Did you age it? Did you ever feel like you aged out of that stuff? Like with Biker Mice for Mars, did like music become a bigger deal for you?
Yeah. Well, since it only ran for 3 seasons, it kind of, you know, I don't think it had enough time for it to kind of run its course. I would say maybe Ninja Turtles would be one that did. Once I got into the later seasons, I kind of got like, okay, I don't think I'm done with this, you know, kind of thing. I think maybe that's why Biker Mice kind of grabbed me, because, it's something different now and stuff. But because I think it kind of got long in the tooth at eventually, you know, and then with all the new series, when they kept revamping it, I was just like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. I'm over this now. Yeah. So, but unfortunately for me, I think Turtles is the only one I saw like religiously saw that in Biker Mice, but I don't count it because it's so short. That I saw every episode. Like I said with the He-Man, it was rentals, and whenever I could catch it at a relative's house or something. So I never was able to see it kind of religiously, like daily or weekly or anything like that. So I don't think I had enough exposure to it to kind of feel like I grew out of it. I just kind of like, I didn't see it for a while, and I was just done with it.
Yeah.
You know, it was the toys I played with more. Yeah. So when it came to He-Man, I would say. Yeah.
So that's kind of how I like Ninja Turtles. I remember I'm just like, I am done with this. There is too much of this. And the silliness just kept getting more and more. And I just like, even as a young kid, I'm like, I require my Ninja Turtles to be very serious characters with deep plot points. Power Rangers.
Also, you got to remember that you lose a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
Sucking money pit.
Yeah. Power Rangers. I remember just kind of going to see Turbo, the second movie, which was significantly less budget than the first movie, and what was actually tied into the show. It was meant to launch the show again, and just like there's a wizard character thing that I just was like, this is dumb, and everyone rags on the Blue Ranger from Turbo. I'm not gonna do that. I think we're the same age. And I'm like, dude, if someone had come to me as a kid and been like, hey, do you want to be a Power Ranger? I'd be like, yes, I do.
They have a YouTuber being a Power Ranger now, so anybody could be a Power Ranger.
So, I'm still hoping to have my big break there. Fly out to New Zealand and try out for the show once the pandemic restrictions are completely gone. But so that's also, though, what made you come back to it as adults? Because I know both of y'all are still, y'all are pretty big fans in this stuff now. What brought you back? What made it okay to start liking this again?
I was never like, I'm being honest. I never went with the popular thing. I mean, there was some stuff that was popular, but I never was like judging based on what other kids thought of me. Because I was like, I already was chill. Like I floated from group to group. So I had the skater group that I chilled with. I had the anime nerds, you call them, who had magic and, you know, Sailor Moon and different things. So like 1 day or 2 days I'd be chilling with one person, and then like a hot brand new news about sports, I go chill with other people. Like the only people I didn't chill with was the cheerleaders and the major jocks. But for me, it was like, you know, it was just, I just didn't like the show. I stopped watching it.
Yeah.
You know, if they reboot something or they do something and I don't like it, I just don't watch it, you know? So it wasn't like peer pressure, like worrying about somebody caring about it. It was just for me, like, I don't like it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give them the view. I'm not going to waste my time, my breath, my energy on something that was not working when Disney had it, or any show like Charmed. Charmed got a reboot. Powerpuff Girls is getting a reboot. And I loved those shows growing up. And when another company or somebody just grabs and goes, hey, they don't care. Like, yeah, we do care. You know, like, we're going to voice our opinion. Like, we don't like what you're doing to the characters. So for me, when it got back to being where I was really into Power Rangers again, was when they started rebooting the old stuff, like merchandise, and bringing back, you know, second wave or third wave or whatever was going on. And the cast members, the Power Rangers, had a convention. That was like the first major thing. I was like, oh, so they're actually out in the world doing stuff. They're not hiding because they didn't like doing the show. Yeah. You know? So it was that, and just like, oh, I want to go meet them. I want to go see them, go talk to a couple of them, and actually see what they're about, you know. And I'm not going to ask a stupid question like, were you all friends? Like, was everybody great, gravy? Like, no, you all did your job, you got paid, and you're civil for most part. So, but it was that point. It was just like when they started bringing back the old shows and re-releasing stuff on DVD, and just me like remembering stuff, and actually being honest, I didn't have the money back then, you know, as a kid. Like, you couldn't buy everything in my family. It was like you got one major gift for Christmas, one major gift for birthday, or they all give you money and you could go buy what you wanted to buy. So now that a lot of the stuff is re-releasing, or I'm finding like stuff from back in the 90s that I couldn't get, I just grab it. I'm like, I'm just gonna get it. You know, I don't care if I look like a midlife crisis or anything like that. I wanted to have something, you know. I didn't have my own space to be able to do stuff, and now I have a game room, and whatever I want to add, it's my money. I'm making the money, I'm buying it, so, you know, who cares?
Nice. Yeah, I don't think for me it was just like, I'm ready to move on, like that. You know, it wasn't really that there were other people, and like, I think wrestling was becoming my thing at that point. Wrestling seemed much more mature, especially if that was Attitude Era. But Sean, like, have you just always had like Biker Mice from Mars? Because like the past couple of years that I have been around you and in your orbit, I've noticed like Biker Mice from Mars comes up more often. Did you come back to the show as an adult?
Yes and no. Like, for example, I have 6 official VHS tapes of Biker Mice from Mars. I bought those. When did eBay start?
Early 2000s, like 2000.
Something like that. I bought them off eBay.
It was earlier
back
than
then.
that.
So
yeah,
so it was around that time. It was when I was just starting college, so that would have been 99, 2000, something like that. And I bought the VHS tapes off eBay, and I have them, and I still have them, and I would watch them once in a while. And so I always kind of like had it there. It was always there. You know, once a year I'd watch a little bit of it or something, but it was never like hardcore. I think now it is, just because I've been just reaching out at a lot of different things, like revisiting that kind of stuff again, real hardcore. And it's hard to find stuff for that, because it was not a big, wasn't a big show, and it wasn't a big fan base for that. So trying to find things like the figures and stuff, it's just hard. I never had any when it was on the show and stuff. I just watched it. I didn't have any merchandise from it or anything like that. So now I'm kind of like, oh, you know what? I wish I did back then, you know? So now I'm kind of trying to grab that kind of that feeling back again, I guess.
Yeah, no, like I'm totally there with you as I've shown my love for Power Rangers. Like I'm with you, like Linda, like coming back to it now, I'm just like, I want this. I want these. These are cool. And God, Power Ranger toys back in the day, they were so hard to come by. Like that's the thing I don't think we've ever had or haven't had in a long time is like a toy craze where like the news is covering it. The Power Rangers, they did like their first public appearance after the show blew up and it shut down the LA highway.
Yep.
Like that was like that stuff was so
They had
huge.
a fan club box. They had, you name it, they had it.
Yeah.
Like they had everything was pretty much merchandise for them. So they had hats, they had shirts, everything.
Yeah, I remember my mom and my aunt had been like trying to find them, like because you'd go to stores and they would just be gone.
Yeah, it's just like Arnold Schwarzenegger running around trying to find that one
Turbo
action
Man.
figure.
Yeah,
Turbo Man.
I mean that movie was based on the Power Ranger craze.
Yeah.
That was completely what that was the reality. They wouldn't even put them on the shelves. Like they just roll the cart out, hands off, and run. I remember my aunt got. I think me and Linda did a collab video, and I talked about like that she got the Red Ranger. She got the Red and the Black Ranger. She figured out my cousin really wanted the Black Ranger because everyone loved Zach. Zach was awesome. Zach is awesome. And so I got the Red Ranger, which was still awesome to have a Power Ranger toy in that first, just to have one, like it.
Yeah, I got the Yellow Ranger, and it was like hard to come by too.
It was a holy grail.
Any of them.
It was a holy grail. Like to be a kid with that, and that thing was going everywhere with me. Like I didn't have monsters for
broke mine,
but I just pretended there were monsters. Yeah, it was. Those toys were so great. And speaking of play, since we are from the YouTube video game retro game community. These things all have video games. Actually, do you either? I'm curious. Does He-Man have a video game?
Yes, it has an Intellivision game.
But it was
an Intellivision.
Yeah, not even like the show though.
No, it's not most of those Atari television games were very imaginative.
You had to use you just had to like guess what's trying to happen.
Yeah, but it had a game at least. There was on the new series He-Man in the 2000 one. There's a PS2 game of that in the PAL region. Okay. We never got it here in the US, but there is a Game Boy Advance one too in that series.
Okay.
But as far as the 80s one, the Intellivision game is the only one I know of that was officially like a release.
There's probably some obscure game we don't know about that's probably just chilling in a box somewhere.
Yeah, that would be great. I would have loved like an NES He-Man game. Like that would have been great. That would have been baller.
I'm really surprised that never happened. That just seems
well, you got to remember Mattel was like all over the place with their stuff.
Yeah.
They were trying to just sell their toys, so they were like, what can we do to license out to get more toys to be sold? So they were more focused on the TV show at the time.
Yeah, it was back then. It was like, let's make this toy. And how are we going to sell the toy? Let's make a show.
It was always a 30-minute commercial and call it a show.
Yeah, and then the show is based off of the toys. Where now it's like a show. Everything's like a show, and then they make the toys. It's kind of like
they want to release a second or third wave of like the toys to like keep the hype going, and then sell like whatever they can.
Yeah. So, what are your favorite video games from your favorite kid property TV shows? Favorite Power Ranger game for us? Favorite, and I want to hear a little bit about the Biker Mice from Mars video games. But Linda, what are your favorite memories of video games? And
well, Carmen Sandiego, just grabbing that and playing that and seeing it, the TV show version and the version, the original one. Yeah,
I got this because of your YouTube channel. I saw you have this, and I was very early in YouTube, and I'm like, that is the coolest thing. I have to have one of those.
Yeah, that one, Oregon Trail. Gem and the Holograms never had a video game, which is sad. I wish they did. I would have played that like all the time. So the game that I really stuck out with me for Power Rangers was the Super Nintendo one, the very first one.
Very super.
That one was, even though it's got patterns and you can beat it the ending is what is very difficult. I never like completed the game in like one run until like recently, but even that is like just fun to play. Like you got a code system, so if you were a kid and you're like your mom told you to turn off the TV, it was like so innovative. Like, oh yeah, we got to make sure that they can be able to like turn it off if they need to turn it off and just get the code and put it back in and play it again. You know, practice, do what you want to do. You know, it was also just like what was weird. It was like they were just throwing any TV show on now. You know, like Friends. I was like, why does Friends get a TV show and not like Are You Afraid of the Dark? I mean, Goosebumps got a TV, like they got video games, PC games. Yeah. Which was really cool. Like I liked Goosebumps and I played that a couple times, but they were not the same. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, they were kind of point and clicky things, and
yeah.
The Power Ranger game, the first one for the SNES, because I was, I'm sure you both remember like this era of like, generally one of you had an SNES and one of your friends had a Genesis, like, and that's, and then you had the weird kid that had the TurboGrafx 16. I don't remember anyone actually having a TurboGrafx 16.
Nobody had it in my area. It was only on like East Coast, West Coast, which was weird. Yeah. I don't know why.
But so there was like in that the Power Rangers games was one of those console war thingies because they were vastly different games. I remember as a kid being so jealous because that was also when Street Fighter was huge, and the Genesis game was a Street Fighter Power Ranger game, and I remember just like oh, and like I did appreciate how cool because ours the cool thing I remember being surprised like you played as the characters before they morphed. Like you'd go through a level
and then they morph at the end.
Halfway through the level. But like just remember like playing the Genesis one and my friends like it's a Street Fighter game, that's so cool. And then being like now looking at it I'm like the SNES one is way better. Because you can really it's a weak fighter game on the Genesis. It's kind of and then then they finally made the SNES the Power Rangers fighting game or fighting version, which was awesome, but it was only the Zords. Like, you only fought as the Thunder Zord. But it's still beautiful. If anyone doesn't know much about that game, look that game up. The graphics are beautiful still. The fighting is really good because it's really rooted in, like, being robots. That's an awesome game. And then, now, flash forward, Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, which is like the Smash Brothers.
Which is excellent.
Yeah, Smash Brothers Power Rangers game.
Yeah, and actually they brought back a lot of the old Power Ranger actors.
Oh yeah, voice acting.
Zordon, everybody.
Yeah, and it's based off the Boom comic book series, the story mode. They've just added Ryu and Chun-Li as DLC characters that are morphed. Yeah. But those are awesome games. Sean, what about you, man? Talk to us. I especially want to hear about these Biker Mice from Mars video games. And Linda, as you know the series as well, like if you know any of these games.
I never played the game, so he would have to talk about that. I've watched the show.
I was so shocked to learn there's PS2 Biker Mice from Mars games. So go.
Yeah, the first one is a Super Nintendo game, and I remember when I found it, I didn't know it existed when I was a kid until I was shopping at a flea market. And somebody was selling one, and I got it for like a couple bucks. I was like, "Oh my god, there's a Super Nintendo Biker Mice game! This is amazing!" And I bought it, and I still have that copy. And I was so excited because you know what I was thinking all the way home. I'm thinking, "Oh, this is gonna be like Turtles in Time. This is gonna be like this arcade beat 'em up. You know, like that's what I want. You know, no, it's a kart racer, isometric." RC Pro-Am kart racer on the bike.
I can just see your face. I'm like putting it in the game.
Oh, but it's a Biker Mice game. At least there's a game, you know. Yeah. So I enjoyed it, but I was so disappointed that it was not a beat 'em up because I wanted to beat 'em up so bad. So then I found out there was a PS2, and I didn't find out that there was a PS2 until a couple years ago. And as soon as I found out about that, I bought it. It's like, I gotta get this. And I didn't look up anything about it. I just found out there was one. I know what it was is I went on like price charting and I was curious of what the Super Nintendo game was going for. And when I typed Biker Mice in, I see Biker Mice from Mars PS2. I'm like, what? And I click it and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And I immediately went to eBay and I bought it. I bought a copy. And I didn't even look up footage or anything. So I popped it in, and I'm like, okay, this is more of what I want, but it's still missing the mark. You ride the bike to the missions, and then it's like a 3D beat 'em up.
Oh, okay.
But it's not very good. It's simple and it's kind of boring.
Is it easy to beat?
I have never beat it because I didn't get enough into it to beat it yet.
You're just like, I'm done.
I'm kind of like, this is kind of boring. Someday I'm gonna sit down and just finish it off just to do it and say I did it. But I got bored quick with it. You know, it's kind of like wash and repeat a lot, and it was just like, oh god, I want a Turtles in Time with biker mice. That's what I want.
That'd be good.
If somebody's listening to this and develops games,
get a hack.
Please hack it. Hack Turtles in Time or something and put biker mice in it. I don't care if they're still fighting foot soldiers. I just want the characters in it.
I feel like you need to go reach out to John Riggs.
Yeah.
And just get him to take the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game.
Just buy one game. Be like, this is just for me. I know you can't sell it.
Yeah.
Just make it for me. I love you.
Well, and then there's a DS game, Biker Mice, and I have that, and it's basically a portable version of the PS2 game in a sense. So it's
kind of like Tony Hawk, where it's like so completely different, but it's still the same.
Yeah, it's a slightly different because to fit for the handheld thing, but it's the same thing. You ride the bike, and then you got the little beat 'em up thing, but it's not the same kind of beat 'em up that you want. You know, it's kind of so it's very it's still disappointed all these years. I got 3 game options. Oh, and there's a mobile game. You can still download it. There's a mobile game. And that's mostly just riding the bike. You use your thumb, move the bike, avoid the obstacle kind of thing.
Oh, kind of like a runner. Okay.
Yeah. So all these years, and I still haven't gotten my great biker mice game. There's plenty of great Turtles games, but no biker games.
Well,
always happens.
Yeah. Have either of you also played the weird Zeo SNES game that is the Battle Racer?
No.
Probably. So I played some random stuff.
Yeah, so Power Rangers, when Zeo was coming out, for some reason
was it the Racer?
Instead of doing another one of their beat 'em ups,
it was like their Mario Kart.
Yeah, they made a Mario Kart Power Rangers game, and it's really
weird.
It's like they just all decided to casually. Like, you know, it's weird that Bowser and Mario just like occasionally put aside their differences to like race, but it kind of fits because that world is quirky. Like, the Power Rangers aren't going to go chill with King Mondo for a day of go-kart race.
And it's so spot on, like, that it's bad. Like, you see, like, the levels were just, like, they took the engine and just went, okay, we're going to just make it a Power Ranger game.
Oh, yeah, it's
you literally saw that.
Like, you get really done with it quick. Like, it's like, okay, I'm playing this. This is fun-ish. And then it's just more of the same and just like very, very cheap. This is when like Power Rangers is starting to like realize they're on the downside of the major boom. Yeah. But
and then they went back to the beat 'em ups after they realized that it didn't work.
Yeah, and then I think THQ took the license over. And made a lot of good Game Boy games. I don't think they tried to do 3D, didn't do well, but the Game Boy games, there have been tons and tons of those. But I think that's going to bring us to... We've been talking about this stuff for a while. I want to thank you both for coming on. Thank you for being a part of this. Linda, my Power Ranger sibling, I'm always delighted.
Carmen San Diego, we got a lot of...
Yeah, we just have a lot of cool fandoms. We're going to have a epic convention one day where the two of us are there and we're just going to nerd out over the same things. It's going to be like when I got to meet...
Fun fact, I don't know if you know that there's another PS2 game that you gotta get.
Oh,
San Diego.
Wait.
Got it?
I've got that on Xbox. I got that on the Xbox.
Okay. Cool.
But final thoughts before we go. What is it about Power Rangers? What is it about Biker Mice from Mars that you want people to know so they can have a great experience with it in 2 paragraphs or less?
I didn't know we were going to college and having to give a thesis, Professor.
I mean, you're welcome.
I'm totally unprepared.
Wow. We have to debate. Oh, no. Well, I would say for me, just Power Rangers in 2 sentences is quirky fun that brings you back to the 90s. You
Very
cannot
much so.
go wrong with that.
No, you cannot. And even the later stuff brings you back to the 90s. I've recognized, like, I also
Bad acting,
cheesy,
over top one-liners.
trying to make this Japanese action show fit into this weird American Saved by the Bell
I still
thing.
can't get over that they still just film stuff in Japan and then just ship it to the US.
Yeah, and they just
Never
cut
can
it.
get over that.
I want to say, like, if you're looking to get into Power Rangers, I want to make these recommendations for anybody. RPM, Power Rangers RPM
Space
is amazing because it's an apocalypse show. Like, the world has fallen and the Power Rangers are like the last line trying to protect this one city, and it is quirky and I'll get out. And then Time Force, if you want a really good sci-fi.
Oh yeah, Time Force.
And then if you're a fan of the original, like I said, coming back and watching Dino Thunder, I think is a really good, if you want something that kind of has a little hint of nostalgia but new. Do you have any
I would
others
say
to recommend?
Space is another one too. Yeah,
Which-
Space
in
is another
Space.
one. Yeah, if you're
Wow.
gonna go Zeo,
I mean,
Zeo.
honestly, what I think fan base calls the Zordon Saga.
Everything but Disney. Just we'll say that anything Saban you can watch and you'll be okay
I'm
with.
trying to-
Even if it's quirky and cheesy bad, it's still good.
What series did Saban or did Disney pick up? 'Cause-
Well, I can't remember exactly what season they started, but it just fell apart. So
It's
can't
not
remember.
Wild Force. I think it's after Wild Force.
After Wild Force, I believe, because
And
Wild Force was like the final.
Yeah, Dino Thunder is when he picks it back up, and so
Yeah.
and RPM, they are on the verge of cancellation, and they just go, heck, we'll throw everything at the wall, and we're gonna
Super
try.
RPM, yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna try to make it a thing.
And then they just started doing the mega, like they started like changing the name by
Yeah.
one word.
Oh,
Like, it was
well,
either
that's when
Super
that's
or
when they started
Mega
doing
or-
second seasons of one
Yeah.
one series.
Yeah, it was like, like in the novellas where like it was just one season only, and then they're like, we gotta make it keep going.
Yeah, we gotta stretch this out. Stretch it
Yeah.
out. Sean, what about your stuff? Your 2 paragraphs or less college thesis.
First
It
of
went from
all,
2
I had-
sentences to 2 paragraphs. Wow.
I said 2 paragraphs earlier. If I didn't, I meant
He did.
to.
He
Nah.
did. I started
Nah.
sweating when he said that.
No, I condensed it to 2 sentences. No.
First of all, let me just say that this has been an eye opener because I had no idea there are so many different Power Ranger series or whatever you want to call them. Because you guys are going off, and I'm just like, I thought it was just Power Rangers. I didn't realize there was all this like Dino Thunders and Space and RPMs or whatever you're talking.
You know, it's
Holy
been a
cow.
long-running show if a YouTuber has become a Power Ranger.
Wow.
That's how long it's been going, and to the point where even to this day, there's still older YouTubers that are trying to get on the show. So they're like campaigning, like, "Hey, can I be on the show?" And it's like,
Wow.
we'll see what happens. But it's getting to the point where now it's just like we're past, like way past
Wow.
20 seasons. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow,
I think we're
that's
at
crazy.
27. Oh no, 28.
28.
August 28th is the 28th anniversary. That's why Hasbro has declared this Power Month.
28.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
but yeah, Sean.
Crazy.
I'll get you a recommend since this is a college cast. I'll get you a recommended watch list
Yes,
afterwards,
please.
and
Nah.
I will get you tests made up so I'll know you're watching them.
Oh no.
Great.
Oh no.
Podcast.
He's
with
gonna make him
homework.
difficult too. He's gonna be like, "What was the monster in episode 7?"
God, you're stressing me out.
And then he's gonna be a trick question because there'll be like 2 monsters in that episode, and it's gonna go like,
Yeah.
And you're gonna be taking the test in your underwear, and you're gonna wake up and realize you're still taking the test in your underwear.
"Oh man."
All right, but Sean, okay,
Biker Mice.
Biker Mice from
Biker Mice.
Mars.
How-
Why people should watch
well-
it today?
Okay, so if you're like I was kind of mentioning before, if you're a fan of the Ninja Turtles, you should give it a try because it adapted a lot of the aspects of Ninja Turtles into that show. Like I mentioned, the the personalities of the mice are the turtles are in the mice, and you have your April O'Neil character. The enemy side, you got your Shredder, you got your Dr. Stockman character, Dr. Carbuncle. You got your Rocksteady and Bebop mixed in one guy named Grease Pit. I mean, it's like if you love turtles, give it a try. It's a little more edgier. It's a little more rock and roll. It's just great fun, and it's short. Give it a try. It's 3 seasons. It's all on YouTube. I just found out, and the new 2006 one. They're all on there, so you can watch to your heart's content.
There's a lot of stuff on YouTube, man.
I know, it's crazy.
So yeah, we will definitely be having conversations again, because I want to know your reaction, both of y'all's reaction to the 2006 Biker Mice from Mars.
Yes,
I'm gonna find that now.
So
I'm gonna find that now.
Well, I guess we're gonna wrap it up. Of course, everyone here is on YouTube. Their channels will be down below. But before we go off, I want to know if there's any other social media people need to follow you at, and what's going on with you in this next week. I'm going to say Linda first.
Okay. Twitter is Linda, aka the Game One. Instagram is Linda, aka the Gamergirl. Nothing much is really going on next week. Just videos and work, man. Convention hype.
Convention hype.
Yes.
Shawnee boy.
Again, as you know, YouTube 8BitGlitch79, Instagram, Twitter, same thing, 8BitGlitch79. This week, I got training at my job, so I'm gonna be pretty busy, and I'm actually going into the office for a week. In a year and a half or something. Nice. Finally going to be physically in there. I've only been there.
It's so awkward to go back
a couple
after
days.
like, yeah.
I was there just one day last week, and I felt like out of place. Like, it felt weird. Like,
yeah.
And I hate the keyboard at my desk. I realized at work. So as far as video wise, next week it'll probably be tough because of now I'll have the added commute every day too. Okay. So I'll be pretty tired.
Well,
but there's always something coming up. There'll always be an RGT will be coming up. Retro Game Treasure. It's going to be the end of the month soon. That box will be coming, and I got some stuff on the docket. Maybe some box game openings. I've been wanting to do a collection review, grabbing stuff from my collection, kind of showcasing it, stuff like that, like items, special items, and stuff. So cool. Sooner or later they'll be out.
Nice. Well, and of course, with both of you, there's an amazing back catalog of great videos that everyone should watch if you have not. And I'm really surprised if you're on this channel if you haven't watched any of their stuff. But you just need to make sure, take a couple weeks off, watch every Linda, aka the Gaming Girl video, then watch
That's gonna be a while.
All the 8-bit glitch. Like, it's better than going to Disneyland, guys. It's better than going to Disneyland.
Oh, okay.
But of course,
now you set it too high, and they're gonna be disappointed.
I did not set it. I actually downplayed it a bit because you two are that amazing. Of course, I'm Bandana Gamer. I think I have a Twitter. I'll put that link in the book because I think it's at Bandana Gamer 1. I think there's a 1 in there.
I think we're all,
clearly you know where my YouTube channel is at. Upcoming this week for me, I think my wife and I are working on a very special pickup project. So there'll be hopefully more news about that one day. Can't say too much about it right now, but it's something that'll be really cool.
I'm still waiting for that tournament between you two.
Yeah, there's we need to do, like, I really want to do a Mario Kart video with her. Yeah,
two gamers, one controller.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
Ooh,
like, the thing is, like, right now,
I've been waiting forever for that one.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I want to risk my relationship, but right now she has been so in depth with Breath of the Wild, and I mean, she is burrowed into that game.
How far?
Oh, she's found every Korok.
Whoa!
Like, the map says 98.2% done. 98.2% done. She's having to do she's doing the DLC right now. Like, every shrine, every Korok, like, she has killed it. And I hope we can. I would love for us to stream Mario Kart and talk about Mario Kart at some point, because that's a part of our origin story. But that video's will come later. I will be doing a couple more streams. I've got some more to play through on Dracula X.
Yes.
So that's going to do it for this episode of Contravania, where we bring together things we love, talk about them with amazing people that I love to talk to. I will hope you like this content. If, by the way, let us know in the comments section below what 80s, 90s TV shows you love, or any TV show, kid show that you enjoy to this day. And that's going to do it for this one, and we will catch you in the next one, my friends. Peace.